Bush.
Let's go, brother.
Hi, everybody. It is Friday, August 26th. I'm here with Wayne Steiger and one of our special researchers, Jake. Jake, you want to share your last name? That's up to you.
That's fine.
Go ahead. Tell us your name.
Oh, Riley. Jake Riley.
So Jake Riley, guys, is one of those guys that has really been doing some fantastic research lately. So he's going to join us today to talk about a discovery that he and Wayne have been working on and we've been reporting on. But today is the main story of our video. But before we get into that, I wanted to talk a little bit about this story that's breaking in UK right now, which is this smog alert. First of all, to all of our subscribers, please pay attention to toxic smog and take care of your lungs and take care of yourself. But what's most interesting is this is that they claim that it's a sub-Saharan dust cloud coming up from Africa. Well, we watched the jet stream and the surface winds enough to know that that's just BS. So basically what they're expecting is that there's going to be grime on the cars and possibly blood rain. So just be aware of that. Again, another sign. So today what we're going to talk about, this is the raw footage, and then I'm going to turn it over to Wayne and Jake to talk about it. But this is the raw footage that Jake captured over the last several days of the Secchi spacecraft. And then the latest image that we have on it right now would have been from the 24th. But you can see this object moving up with a large, whatever you want to call it, ray gun or field of energy or whatever that is going out. And I just wanted to get you up to date on that and show it to you, because today we're going to actually break this. Wayne has actually done some manipulation of the photo. Wayne, would you go ahead and show us what you found on that image and go ahead and take the screen over?
Sure. So let me get this here. Great. So I have a video here that your audience.
Just a little closer to the mic, please.
Yeah, I'm getting a little feedback here. But what I've done here, Steve, I've taken the blur out of the Secchi photos. And look what we have here, Steve. This object is propelling itself. You can actually see it emanating a wake behind it. And what's most concerning to me, Steve, this shock wave is intensifying.
Yeah, what it seems like to me, Wayne, and again, I don't want to just be, state the obvious, but we first picked it up when it was just a javelin, right? It looked like that little javelin object.
Yes.
Watching it over the last couple of days, and it continues to expand almost as if it's pointing at that planet right there.
Now, we need to get confirmation on this. I thought that was Venus. There is some speculation that may be Earth. What we're about to show people on this, Steve, they're going to be able to see from where the planets are sitting why it really doesn't matter if it's Venus or Earth. This thing is heading in our direction. And we'll start the video one more time so the viewers can see this. Look, Steve, there it is. Very plain. Look at this.
This is, guys, it's like we show so many remarkable things. I get that. This is by far the most remarkable thing I've ever seen. And the other thing I'll say about this is there is the possibility that we could be being screwed with by NASA people here.
Hey,
I just want to put that out there.
Sure. I mean, we have to say, all right, if these images are in any way manipulated or have been altered, sure, this will be the biggest hoax on all of us. But what if it's not?
Yeah, it's saying it's Venus, man. Secchi is clear that it's saying it's Venus.
So I'm going to turn this back over to you, Steve, because you have the planets ready to go so the viewers can get an idea of where the space where we think this is coming from.
Yep. So I'm going to go ahead and take the screen if that's okay. All right. And Jake, did you have any comments while you were sitting here watching us bounce all over the place?
That's why I sent the information to Wayne. I knew that he'd be able to break it down. I thought I'd seen something last night. Even in the video, when I sent to Wayne, I was kind of skeptical of my own report. Like, okay, I think I see something. I don't know. But I'm just as shocked as you guys are.
Yeah, I know you are. It's crazy stuff, man. All right, so let's see if we can get to the wider panned out view that you had on here. All right, here. So what we're being told is that is Venus. That's what Secchi's telling us, that object is Venus.
Good. Okay.
And then just to be clear, this is the object that we're talking about.
So this is what by the way, it is just our assumption here, but all three of us have come to the decision that shockwave is heading for either Venus, but if Venus continues with its downward motion, then Steve, I'll let you break the rest of the story behind that.
Well, and that's just it. We've got okay, this is a breaking story, all right? Either it's a hoax by NASA, because these are public photographs by the Navy, or we are capturing some sort of large object emanating a ray or some type of force field or energy field. Okay, so that's the first story, all right? The second story that we want to talk about today, which we think might be related, is this. And that has to do with this video, or actually clips that we got from a subscriber, and I'll give all credit to Robert for giving us this information. But basically, what he was just an amateur astronomer. He went out to the WISE spacecraft imager. He was curious about that empty spark part of space that Google kept covering up, Wayne, a couple of years ago.
Yep.
So he went out and did several images by himself, and actually went back and caught what David Mead was saying was Nemesis. So if you guys remember David Mead, he's an author that says that our flyby is going to be in 2017 October, and you know we don't buy that. By the way, everybody, we listen to him politely, we look at his information, but I don't know for sure. I will not put a date on this because it's just impossible to do so with the information that we have. But these are more or less the same area in space, and I'll show you where that area in space is here on the solar system scope, where we're seeing these two orbs. Now, this is similar to the two orbs that we see here. That's why I think it's interesting, Wayne.
Yes, I do too as well.
Okay? So what I did was I said, okay, well, we got these pictures from the 20th of this object with the two eyes on it that some say is the dragon itself, the thing that the cultures called the dragon. When they saw it from Earth, it looked like a huge dragon. And again, there it does look kind of like a dragon's face in this picture.
Looks like two eyes coming at me is what it looks like to me.
And I could see how an ancient person would call that a dragon for sure.
Sure,
you know?
Absolutely.
So now I'm going to go to the solar system scope and kind of show you where this thing is, okay? And so
this is what's exciting.
Yep. Here's the inner solar system, right? And Secchi's on the other side, so I'm going to go ahead and pretend like we're Secchi, okay? Secchi's sitting about right here, okay? You with me?
How do we know this, Steve? How did you and I and Jay, how do we come up with this conclusion?
That's where Secchi is. Well, I know it's sitting on this side of the Earth. I can't tell you its distance.
Yeah.
So I found.
We were able to deduce the view, right?
What's that?
We were able to deduce where the view is pretty much looking out at.
Right.
Okay.
So if you go back to the Secchi image that we're looking at, you'll recognize Neptune, Mercury, Mars, Venus, and Pluto, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So now I go to the solar system scope, and that's exactly what we're seeing here, okay? Mercury, Venus, Mars. And the Secchi spacecraft is in front of Jupiter, by the way. Okay?
Here's our view, folks.
So if I go in a little bit closer, this is what I'm seeing right about here, okay? Agreed?
Agreed.
All right, so if the object is coming from over here, that little thing that guy was showing us, that breaking story, let me illustrate that by showing you the constellation it's in. Did you see that?
I did.
This object that the two little dots on it is right here. So let me just reiterate here. It is this object. This, Wayne, this object, these objects with this dust cloud and all this other stuff going on is right here.
I think when we begin to look at all possibilities, you'd have to be, well, you have to consider the possibility.
Well, all I'm saying is that I've got a corroboration here, right?
Exactly.
So I've got my Secchi image is showing the occluded area here, which we think is, we don't think that's a baffle, by the way. We spoke about it all the time. Yesterday we showed that May 24th image of something bouncing off of the baffle, which
yeah,
baffles inside of the camera, right?
See,
God damn! Stop insulting my intelligence.
it exploded. Lens flare, my, you know what?
But anyway, so we're showing the occluded version of this. If this wasn't occluded, what you would see here is like a very strange, object. And what we're saying is that we think that possibly, the object that was being captured by that individual with the WISE sky survey, this, possibly, is this.
And then let's bring up the object in question and why we think that if it passes Venus, the next target is Earth.
Yeah, let's get a look. Let's pull this to the side again so we can take a look. And this is a big heads up, everybody. I mean, we don't know
really
what we're doing here.
Something's going on.
The question I have is what's going to happen to Venus? That's what I'm waiting for.
Coming at Venus with this beam, and then what Wayne wanted to show is that it's the next thing that would be in the path of that, if it's pointing in that direction, would be Mercury and Earth.
And it just depends on where Mercury is in its orbit, whether it's going to be in front of us or moving aside.
By the way, I got an amateur astronomer. You remember Dieter?
I do.
Dieter confirmed through analysis that Mars indeed is 6 degrees too low.
So, Steve, turn it on the ecliptic for us so everyone can get an idea of what we're talking about when we say 6 degrees below. So there we go. Yeah.
So if it basically is saying that Mars orbit is dipping down below this line of what we call the ecliptic. All the planets are on one line around the sun. It's a very strange thing, but that's the way planets line up around a star. And they never really leave that ecliptic, that plate, though. They rotate around that imaginary plate. Well, here's the thing. If anything moves off of its orbit, which is, again, this is the 3 laws of thermodynamics, guys. Go back to your science book, right? Nothing is going to change its direction, speed, velocity, or anything unless something acts upon it.
Precisely. And why is that? Because we know inertia in space. If you have a force that has been emitted, the inertia of that force would go unabated until it either does one or two things. It either encounters another force or the dispersion of the energy itself begins to eventually spread out in the space, correct?
That's correct. Now, before we get off this video, because I think this is enough meat here for people to kind of chew on today, and then we'll put up obviously more videos over the weekend, but Jake, you are also trying to show us something in that lower right-hand corner, if I remember correctly, from that Secchi sets of images together. What do you think you were seeing in that lower left-hand corner?
Well, what I thought I saw was an orb-like object. I was trying to show Wayne that underneath of that baffle, whatever that is, the black tip, you can actually see a silhouette of lines that are moving, opposite. It's going to left to right. And I saw it in the right corner very clearly. And then if you go diagonally straight up, like I said, near the nose of that baffle, I see it. And I'm hoping when I see this video later, I think it's clearly there's something in the background of this object that we've captured on top of that. And I'm wondering if it's part of the system that's already here.
Yeah, and I think that's also a good thing to kind of end on here, guys. So, I'm going to step out there right now, Wayne, and I am going to say that right now our astronomers are saying that it's at about 16 AU right now, the star itself.
You and I worked late on that last night, and I think that that is pretty accurate. Now, I also want to say this. And this is Wayne Steiger's opinion, and no way it reflects the WSO or its, but the point is, I think that this object that we're tracking, I believe that it is of an intelligent design, and I believe that the way it's moving is the activity around it. This is not a normal celestial object. One last point, and then Steve, you need to point this out, what you're going to, but one last point, folks, that's big. You've got to understand, it's big. It's planet-sized big.
Yeah, that's huge. A planet-sized, planet-sized object, right.
And that shock wave going out in front of it, I don't want to be in front of that. Okay, Steve, I'm done.
Oh, no, that's all right. So what I'm going to do here, guys, is just pull up a simple model of the solar system, okay? And I want to start getting you familiar with these distances because this is a part that can really throw you, okay? Because you might think by looking at the solar system, all these planets are all bunched. They're not, okay? We are far apart. So 1 AU is the distance between Earth and the Sun. Shut up, it's 93 million miles, okay?
This is true. And by the way, you can put all the planets between the Earth and the Moon. So,
right.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
So within that 1.5 AU or so is our inner solar system, including Mars, Earth, Venus, and Mercury. We're all in that little, we call that the inner solar system. Right next to that is an asteroid belt. That is where we think that a planet was destroyed at one time. Some people call it Tai Chi or
Taimu. I call it Taimu.
Yep. And there was a planet that was said to be there that was destroyed at one of these runs of Nibiru through the system, and that's why we have that asteroid belt there. So whenever you hear somebody talking about asteroid belt, it's right outside of Mars, okay? It's outside of Mars. Then you go to Jupiter, and Saturn is a full 10 AUs away from us, guys. Are you with me now? 10 AUs, that's 10 Earth-Sun distances away from us. So when I say that the star right now, we're estimating that that star, and I'm going to make a very bold, this is just an estimate based on all the data, and I'll take you through some of it later. But right now, we're suspecting that this thing is somewhere between Uranus and Saturn, and depending on its velocity and relative distance from the ecliptic, and I'm not talking about the spaceship right now, I'm talking about the star, the red dwarf or brown dwarf star that we're looking at. I disagree with, respectfully disagree with Terrell. I don't think we're looking at some kind of weird invisible anomaly. I think we're looking at a brown red dwarf that's invisible to the naked eye, but not invisible to IR, just like the Earth, okay? So we think that that thing is out there somewhere around 16 AU right now. That's what we think, Wayne.
And I think as well that I'm pretty well convinced it's coming up from the southern ecliptic as well. I think it just shows all the evidence of that.
Yeah. Like this?
Yes, sir.
So let's assume for a second, guys, it's coming up. Let's say that Mars was a canary in the coal mine, okay? And by the way, canary in the coal mine, what that means, they used to take canaries with them in the coal mine. And if the gas got poisonous, then the canary would die. They'd know to leave.
Wow.
Anywho,
good analogy.
Yeah, but Mars has been taking this dip, and this is today's orbit, by the way. This is where we stand in orbit right now. So if we're seeing this thing out in this sector, right, and Mars has already started to take a dip, and Venus is starting to take a dip, there's a pretty good chance this thing is approaching the inner solar system, you guys. That's what I want to say.
Yeah, and that's the alarming thing is that, you know, that's what the outer solar system's for. It's supposed to be an outer defense shield. So something has penetrated our defense shield, and it's clear evidence. Listen, you know, Jake and Steve, we are all open here. What we're saying, if you have a different interpretation of what this object is and what emanated from this object that we have been recording and now is going around the world, I'd like to know what your opinion is, because it's not a software glitch.
We're not smart enough to figure this one out.
Yeah, I mean, this is above my pay grade. I'll admit it.
Yeah, beyond all of us.
You know, what I see here, I'm taken back to Star Trek. I'm seeing Lost in Space, you know? Because that's it looks to me to be listen, if you want to describe a flying saucer, that would have kind of that footprint, right? But it's huge.
Classic flying saucer shape, you know?
It is. It is. I mean, come on, be honest. That's what it looks like. So, and Jake, you brought up the idea, what if it's clearing a path for that object? Look at that.
Are we documenting the arrival of the Anunnaki?
Well, you know, I got the book right here because I stayed up reading some night. And, you know, I'm reading on the Anunnaki Chronicles. Listen, we have some really great people. I want to give a shout out to Jason. And you can see the pictures where the baffle, how we've caught this thing, has a similar shape to other type of spacecraft. What are we seeing? I don't know, but I know this. What we're tracking here, that's real. Jake, wouldn't you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, and I try that when I send things to you, I make sure that it's something we can all stand on, not just a what if or a maybe. And believe me, it took me a minute to really make the decision to send this to you guys or not, but
well,
I believe it's real.
You broke this story, and I just think that, by the way, I think we may be documenting, Steve, correctly. Who knows? Maybe this may be one of the biggest stories of our time.
It
you know,
seems like
real quick, I wanted to...
Go ahead, Jake.
I just wanted to add real quick, I'm glad you guys brought up about the Anunnaki. I've heard within the community that if this event is really happening, that they want to help. And the theory of clearing the path would be maybe clearing the path to maybe, let's say, lighten the orbit through the debris field. Is maybe where I was going with the whole theory of it clearing a path, maybe trying to limit the disaster and the event that could be happening.
Excellent, excellent deductive reasoning.
Yeah, I think that's a good theory, solid theory. And again, you know, just let me stop on this for a second, because this is going to blow a lot of my funny friends' mind, right? Steve Olson believes there are aliens. Okay, let's just get that.
I knew it. I knew it.
Yep. And I think that when you read in your Bible that they were visited by an angel, you can actually replace the word angel with alien.
Well, by the way, the debris field that stands between us and Mars, in the book of Isaiah, it's called the broken necklace, the hammered necklace. And that hammered necklace goes back to the Sumerians. So it's been known for a very long time that that was a planet.
Now, here's the other thing that I will say about the alien, quote unquote alien, as according to the book of Enoch, as according to the book of Genesis, as all of Ezekiel. These aliens or angels, you have good ones and you have bad ones, okay? I believe that the angels are the ones that work for Yahweh, and they are the ones that work for us. I believe the bad ones are going to try to look like they're good ones, okay? So I do believe there's a deception afoot. I just haven't unraveled it yet.
Well, Steve, we're going to do a show, as you know, on the tapestries, where we have a theory that, folks, we're about to see something, and it's not, hear me on this, folks, it has not been seen before. It has been seen many times before. So I'm just trying to give it a little.
We're going to discuss. Is there an alien / angel demon component to this? We're going to start to explore who the people might be. And again, I'm not saying any of them are good or bad yet because I don't know enough to say that.
Haven't met one.
Yeah, I can tell you that a deception is promised.
So are we seeing something real or are we seeing something manipulated?
I don't know.
Jake, what's your vote? My vote is that we're seeing real.
I think it's real, but the scary part is when you guys mentioned it could be a hoax and that NASA's messing with us. And the only reason why I'm scared of that statement is because it's still up. You can still go back and view it. They're not even trying to hide this. So either they don't think people are paying attention to that particular satellite, or like you guys said, they're messing. I don't know. I think it's real. I'd be very sad to find out if this was a hoax, though. Not because the world's not going to end, but just because of how much manipulation powers that be actually have.
Well, let's all remember this, too. The standard manual on debunking is this. You give the true evidence. You put it out first. You let that go out there, and then you bring in those who come in are paid to debunk what was, in fact, the real fact, and now has become debunked. Let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens.
Yep.
All right, guys. Thanks for your time. I got to jump on to another call.
Thanks,
Love you guys.
All right, blessings, y'all.
See you guys.
Take care.